And welcome back to Trojan Sports Now. Today I am joined by junior pitcher Levi Thomas. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So first question, how did you get started in baseball?
Really going back as far as I can remember. Pretty much everyone in my family played baseball growing up. Started with my older brother, then me, then my younger brother, and it's pretty much all I knew. I was the only one in my family who never played another sport. My older brother and younger brother both played football. And for me, it was just always baseball. And I guess it kind of started growing up seeing my older brother do it, and I just kind of followed in his footsteps.
And when did you start pitching?
I believe it was around 8 or 9 years old is when I first started pitching, and I've been doing it ever since.
And when did you know that you would be good as a pitcher?
I guess I never really knew that I would be a good pitcher. It's just kind of the thing to do when you're growing up playing travel ball. Everyone's a pitcher, it seems like. Very few guys are ever select one position and only that position. At least on my team anyways, it was pretty much everyone was a pitcher. And you kind of need that growing up because you may play 8-9 games in a weekend, and everyone's available really. So it was just kind of whenever they needed me, go out there and pitch, and kind of progress into high school. So yeah, I guess that's kind of, I guess I never really knew that I'd be good. It just kind of kept going with it and got better and better over time. So.
And I grew up playing baseball as well, so I know what that's like to have to be called upon whenever. But unfortunately for me, I wasn't very good at pitching, so they put me at catcher a lot of the times. But when pitching, what are your go-to pitches?
Currently now it's four-seam fastball, a slider, and a changeup.
What was the hardest pitch to learn growing up, though?
Definitely changeup. Definitely changeup. I actually didn't have a changeup until last year, Coach Hancock's first year here. That was pretty much what we put our most focus in from day one. It was, it was a tough process because I wanted something immediate, and he kind of forced me to see the long-term goal where you're not going to have this pitch overnight, and it took me a little while to understand that, but eventually it just, after reps and reps and reps and countless bullpens later, it's a fairly effective pitch for me, and I'm really happy with it. So it's definitely been the hardest pitch to learn.
And your jersey number here at Troy is number 40. Is there a story behind that? Why did you choose number 40?
There's really not a story behind 40. It was just kind of the number I was, I guess, given when I came here. But before that, I used to be number 32, and I was number 32 all through high school, all growing up. And I guess the reason behind 32 was my older brother at the time played with a guy on his travel ball team that I really looked up to because of how good he was. And he was the best player everywhere he went. Everyone knew who he was, and he was always the hardest thrower, hardest hitter, the fastest guy, and that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be that guy. And so I just kind of, I guess I wanted his number. His number was the best number in my opinion, so that's what I got when I was a little kid, and kind of just ran with it all through high school. And my freshman year coming in here, Will Carnley actually had 32. So just number 40 was kind of the number I guess I was given. So.
Gotcha. And your senior year in high school, you went 6-2 as a starter. In high school, you were state runner-up 3 times, but you did have a championship in high school. How have you been able to relate that success from high school now to college, where you've been really good your first 2 years?
Really, I guess it started in high school, like you said, because the program I went to, Coleman High School, it's especially as of lately, it's been a powerhouse in baseball. And I guess starting in my freshman year, or really even before then, I guess growing up, my older brother played high school, or played baseball there at the high school, and I think it went to 2 state championships, and I think they got runner-up both times. And just kind of growing up and being around the program like that, I guess I kind of learned how hard they push themselves and work each and every day to get to that point. And got to experience it firsthand my freshman year because we all practice around the same time, usually together. And I guess starting really freshman year, I guess I got a firsthand experience of how to truly work hard and push yourself and strive for excellence, and anything less than that's not acceptable. And ultimately, I think that's what led us to a state championship and 3 runner-ups. And I believe that just kind of, it grew, the work ethic grew when getting to college, and ultimately it's what, I guess, pushes me to get better each and every day.
And going back to freshman year here at Troy, you led the team in strikeouts per 9 innings, and then y'all went to a regional and you started against Georgia in the regionals. What was that experience like, going against that good of a team in that sort of pressure-packed moment?
Man, I still get chills when I think about that. It was an incredible experience. Like if someone had told me my freshman year I would start game 1 of the conference tournament and game against Georgia in a regional in Athens, like I would have told you you're lying. I did not expect any of that to ever happen, and it was an incredible experience. Something I'll never forget. It felt like there was 5,000 people there just on top of you, and I guess that's kind of something that's a little unique about their field is there's not much room behind home plate. The backstop's relatively short, I guess, compared to ours, and so it feels like the crowd is just right on top of you. So good or bad, something happened. For our team, it felt like the fans were just right on top of you, and obviously when something good happened for them, you could hear them just as loud. So it was an incredible experience, and something we're shooting for again this year. That's our goal. So we want to get back there and eventually make it to a super regional, and ultimately a World Series.
And since freshman year, probably the one word that would describe you best would be consistent. How have you been able to remain consistent since freshman year?
Ultimately, I would attribute that to a really solid work ethic and having a pitching coach that pushes you each and every day to just find that 1% you can get better that day. And that's really what it's all about. And I believe just finding something that you're not good at maybe, or you're not the best at, and focusing on that until it ultimately becomes something you're good at, or maybe even a strength. And for example, that was my changeup, and I think that's what has helped me a lot, especially last year, because I was typically just a fastball slider pitcher, and people knew that. Where there's not going to be every game where you have your fastball command or your slider command, so you have that third pitch that you can go to, and it can just be something to keep the batter guessing just a little bit longer. But basically, I would say I would attribute it to a really good work ethic and a really good support staff and coaching staff behind us.
And last season, you started 15 games and went 8-2 as a starter. You had 81 strikeouts to 31 walks. Would you call yourself a strikeout pitcher, or what would you call yourself?
Not really. I mean, sure, I get strikeouts here and there and stuff like that, but there's definitely people out there with much higher strikeout percentages and rates than me. Really, I guess my only goal is I just try to throw as many strikes as possible. And if they hit it, they hit it, and if I strike them out, then that's great. But my main goal is just fill up the strike zone as much as possible. And I guess a stat I would be more happy with would be a higher strike percentage, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's given me and my team the best chance to win. So, and that's what I strive to do each time I go out there.
Well, certainly last Friday you had a high strike percentage, 14 strikeouts in 5 innings. You only threw 16 balls through those 5 innings. What were you seeing from them that you were able to take advantage of?
I guess it was a mixture of a few things. I had really good control of my pitches that day. And I knew from the scouting report that just certain locations they didn't handle very well, and I just tried to attack those locations over and over again, and I had really good success with that. But really, I mean, I would say it starts with our offense, because not many times are we ever, or is it, I guess, am I fortunate enough to have 6 runs put up in the first like that. So I know if that happens, it's my turn to do my job and fill up the strike zone. And so I can't thank the offense enough for that. And it's pretty special sitting in there just watching run after run after run like that. It's a huge confidence boost to me and any pitcher that goes out there, that if you do your job, you know the offense is going to back you up. So I'd say that's a big part of it.
And speaking of that offense, they scored 64 runs through opening weekend last weekend. To put that into perspective, they didn't score 64 runs last season until the 15th game last season. So what's it like knowing that, hey, I can give up a few hits, a few runs if need be, because I know that my offense is going to have my back?
Exactly. That's it's a fantastic feeling, because it takes a lot of pressure off just pitchers in general, that you don't have to be absolutely perfect with this pitch. You don't have to throw it as hard as you can. If you hit your spot and they hit it, then props to the hitter. Good job to them. If I give up a run or two or a few runs, no big deal. I know we have the potential to score 6 runs in an inning just like that or more. And it's a huge, I guess, relief, knowing that a run could happen any inning. And there's no weak spot to our lineup. 1 through 9 has more potential than I've ever seen in my 3 years here. And it's a really, really exciting experience to be a part of, and can't wait to see where they take us.
And no pitcher is complete without a catcher. For 2 years, you threw to Chase Smart. Now you're throwing to Caleb Bartolero.
Oh, yeah.
What's it like been working with him in the offseason and then last season as well, getting that relationship built with him and that communication between you and your catcher?
Yeah, it's been great. We all love Caleb to death. He's a fantastic catcher, and I absolutely love pitching to him. I feel like the way he sticks the ball and frames it, I believe he gets me some strike calls that I probably wouldn't get otherwise. And you can tell how much he enjoys being back there. And starting back in the fall, we've always been really close. We're always good friends and everything. But starting back in the fall, with bullpens and inter squads and everything like that, you kind of build that pitcher-catcher relationship. You get a really good understanding for each other and I guess pitches and how they work. And ultimately, it just kind of builds the bond, and I feel like if anything, it helps going back so far like that. So really excited though.
And going into this weekend, y'all have a tough matchup against a Louisiana Tech team that is also undefeated. What's your mindset going into that weekend matchup this weekend?
Same mindset as last weekend. Go out there, fill up the strike zone, and I know if I do that, the offense will do their job, and that's just what it comes down to. If I do my job, I know the offense will back me up, and that's a huge confidence boost in any game, and it's a good feeling.
And lastly, if you could learn how to throw any other type of pitch right now and have it in your arsenal, what pitch would that be?
I would love to learn a lot of pitches, but if it had to come down to, I guess, to one pitch, it'd probably be a sinker or a really good two-seam or something like that. There's a kid on our team, Dalton Wilder. He actually started last night's game, and he has a really, really good two-seam. It's almost like a sinker sometimes. And I see all the time on social media and watching MLB games, pitchers up there that have just unbelievable sinkers that move like crazy, and I would always wanted to throw something like that, and I think it'd be really cool to have. I'm not sure how much I would use it, but at the same time, it'd just be cool to know that I could make a baseball move like that, I think so.
All right, well, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And stay tuned for more Trojan Sports Now right after this.